We can first of all say that Rai Bahadur was, to put it in a way, a benevolent autocrat. First of all, there are certain facets of his leadership style which I would like to bring to your notice. Number one, Rai Bahadur was a perfectionist to the core. So when he set up his hotels, he gave attention to every specific detail while setting up his hotels. So he was a perfectionist. Secondly, his personality involved concentrating on particular facets or particular aspects of a task. So when he was doing something, he could simply compartmentalize and concentrate on that particular task. So that was one aspect of his personality which helped him become a great leader. Also, Rai Bahadur was accessible to one and all, to all his employees and staff. They could readily go up to Rai Bahadur and relate their personal problems to him. Rai Bahadur also had the acumen for selecting the right kind of persons. His leadership style or strategy consisted of taking a cool and calculated approach to every problem that that his upcoming hotels faced, and he could put these strategies into practice. He was patient, he was non-aggressive in his approach, and yet he was object-oriented. He was totally committed to the task at hand. His dogged perseverance and his great resolve were other aspects of his leadership style. We remember the way how his hotel construction work had stalled, and yet he went up to the minister, used his personal contacts, and ultimately got the money and the wherewithal to build up his hotels. He also had the ability to learn. So that was another aspect of Mohan Singh Oberoi. He was a great dreamer, and I've already pointed out his perseverance and diligence. And another aspect of Mohan Singh Oberoi was the incredible personal rapport that he built. I mean, he built this personal rapport for his own benefit, but sometimes it was not only short-sighted gains that he had in mind. He was a person who would easily build this sort of rapport, and this rapport helped him in procuring funds and in setting up his hotels. So he was also accommodative when dealing with the union leaders. He always advised his managers that you take an accommodative approach towards solving your problems, and you try to build up a consensus. And instead of firing employees or taking strict disciplinary actions against them, you try to solve the problems through mutual consensus and understanding. And he was also, however, aware of his own exalted position. So when the general manager confronted him, telling him that it was none of his jobs to deal directly with the unions, he told him in no uncertain terms that he knew what his responsibilities were, and he made it very clear to the general manager. So he, in spite of the fact that he was accessible to the people, at the same time he was also acutely aware of his own position and the authority that he wielded as the chairman of the Oberoi group of hotels. The human imperative also formed a very important part of Mohan Singh Oberoi. He paid a lot of attention to the human factor. He developed a management cadre, and he had the ability to motivate his subordinates in a very good way. For example, when the bartender who used to tend the bars in the hotel left, he immediately noticed his absence and tried to take steps so that his bar revenues didn't go down. And he was also a man of honesty. So the bankers who lent him loans, he was always very particular about repaying the loans in time. So that sort of built up a very good personal relationship with the bankers, helped him in developing this relationship. And he showed a lot of empathy for his subordinates. For example, the cook who had his own personal problems, or the newlywed person who had come up to him and told him that these are the problems that I am facing. So he immediately sanctioned funds for them. So he showed a lot of empathy for his staff. For the managers, he told them where to buy land and build houses. And whenever he went out, he used to remember the names of every single manager, every single employee, and he would bring things which suited his or her taste. For example, once he went out, he brought ties for all his, for the males and skirts for the females. So he was very particular, and he paid a lot of attention to his employees. He had a knack for detail, and he also had a phenomenal memory, whereby he could remember the names of every single individual that he had ever met or that he worked with. And lastly, Rai Bahadur had a grand vision. That vision enabled him to translate his goals into reality. So this is, I can say, the leadership style of Rai Bahadur Mohan Singh Oberoi.
Okay, good. Don't go away. Ask him some questions. I'll kick off with the first question. And the first question, come and stand here. First question is that we have studied about various types of styles, classification, management styles. Could you tell me how would you classify his management style?
Sir, I had said that at the very outset.
Tell me. Benevolent autocrat?
He is a benevolent autocrat, yes.
So it's a directive kind of style, but benevolent.
But benevolent, yes.
He doesn't believe in participative style, or
I mean,
basically it's a directive authoritarian style, right?
It is. He knows that
everyone
he
agrees?
is the boss. But at the same time, he is benevolent. He takes steps to see to it that the concerns of his employees are met, that they are given a fair deal. But when it comes to taking the final decision, he is not democratic. Rather, he is autocratic.
It also says
One moment. I can see that you have opened the Pandora's box. Let's have one at a time. Yeah. Come on, Francis.
Against the elements where he's motivating people to work, he's teaching them what are the best ways, and he knows that it is not, you tell a person to do the work that way, he won't do it that way. You motivate him and make him understand.
How can you give me a specific example from the case?
I think it's participative, sir, because when
He is participating.
Yes, sir.
He is not authoritarian.
when he took over a hotel, like he says that he never goes and says that I am the boss. He waits for like.
Except when he has to say it.
Yes, sir, like.
Huh?
He
said once, in the case it says. So let's hold it for a while. You say that is participative. He is more motivating. That is, he is not a task-oriented style. He is a people-oriented style. That's what you are saying. He is saying it's task-oriented, authoritarian.
I do not deny the people orientation that Rai Bahadur had.
All right.
I use the term benevolent.
Okay, you don't have to deny. Okay, we'll come to that. Yes.
no, there are some examples in the case to back what we just flashed.
Which group are you?
I'm
That's true, but change sides here, is it?
No.
Crossed over.
I'm just giving an
Okay,
example.
all right. Come up and say.
When American
Come
fired,
here, otherwise-
when an American fired an employee,
Right.
and when he went up to the chairman, he said, "You are session judge. Vicky Oberoi
son.
is a high court, but I am the Supreme Court." So it says that when he is required to put his thumb down, when he is required to exercise
When he
his
is
power,
required to pull his rank,
Yes.
show his clout that I am the owner, he does it.
he does it. So
To that extent, he is authoritarian, right?
And
Now
there
he has
are
also demonstrated that when required, he is also very humane. He coaches, he motivates, and so on.
But he's also.
So he is a man of many personalities, it seems.
So one thing, sir.
So he also is not.
I'll come to you. Let us finish there.
So what he said,
Ah.
can that come under the heading of participative style? You're participating, but at times when you have to press the accelerator, you do that. can that come under the domain of participatory style, or it has to be viewed differently?
You tell me. You have forgotten what we learned. Okay. One more, Francis. We come to this side now. Yes, Krishna.
I would say autocratic always. There is an instance.
Was he autocratic even at times?
I don't think it was autocratic.
You have to take a stand now, Krishna.
He was not autocratic.
He was not autocratic. Or what was he then?
He used to reason out with the person. Even when
He was persuasive. He was a great salesman, there is no doubt. But with the external environment, with his own people, was he persuasive?
Even with his own people, he with Siddiqui also, he had reasoned it out. There is one instance. Son-in-law K.K. Mehra,
Ah,
he had taken one decision of not giving order to someone.
construction company.
Construction
Yes.
company. At that time, he did not ask him to reverse the order, even though a lot of pressure was applied on him. But at that time, he did not reverse the order.
He was his son-in-law.
Not because he was his son-in-law.
He's the authority guy.
There is one more example.
Now, would you agree, gentlemen, that don't disagree with me before I have said what I want to say. Would you agree if I said that he was very skillful at bringing to bear the appropriate style for the appropriate situation? Because situation also demands some kind of style, right? That's what we have learned in the last few sessions when we talked of styles and skills, that you have to be adept as a leader and a manager to be able to judge which situation demands which kind of a style. And I think the case brings out in ample measure that he had that ability and the flair and the knack to choose the right kind of style.
So like in that union strike,
Yes,
what he does is that he goes down to their demands to a certain extent,
right.
and he tried not to have a showdown and litigation, all that. Try to solve the problem. Whether sometimes it is thinking about the employee's requirement, employee's demand, and going down towards that. Even sometimes it is riding roughshod on the managers or general managers he is having. So
Right.
he is trying to prevent and take the organization in a smooth way.
So he saw an opportunity in that problem. He managed to get the
That was very skillful. That was great.
getting the wrong eggs out so that the omelette is right.
He understood his business. He was in the hospitality business. So it is necessary that everyone.
Yeah, the case mentions that.
But does not the case also bring out? It's not enough to understand, it's not enough to theorize, but you have got to execute. And I think he executed all the tasks which he selected, par excellence. And his style was he took one at a time. No, there are many managers or leaders who do many things at the same time. He didn't believe in this. Focus. Remember, no phone calls when he was in meetings. One issue at a time. Total focusing. And he solved it. When the situation demanded, he was harsh. Same example, I am glad you brought it up. He had a declared policy, no sacking of people. Okay? Right? It says so. But at the same time, when the opportunity came to get rid of some dead wood, people who given the opportunity to come and work, but they chose not to, when they came back again, they were turned away. I said, sorry. You had your chance and you didn't take it. So he combined the rare ability of focus on the one hand, task orientation when it was needed, and throughout a very humane kind of approach to people-driven kind of culture. And it was so appropriate because, as Krishna says, he was in the people business. The hospitality business is essentially, to do service to people. And he ingrained that culture of doing service, starting from your home, that is your own employees, do service. He was benevolent, there is no doubt about it. His managers who didn't have the foresight like him, he virtually forced them. It's very unusual for an owner, chairman, to even fill up the forms for his manager. It was like a father, Remember, He marked also where the manager had to sign in order to buy that piece of land near his farm.
If I may just chip in.
Ah.
But at the same time,
Hmm.
he also made it sure
Hmm.
that the managers do subscribe to that particular piece of land.
Right.
I mean, so to that extent, he was autocratic too, in addition to being benevolent. They had
It's
to.
like a father.
You're very right. I would even say benevolent, he is paternalistic also in his style.
Exactly, so he was
Paternalistic. Did the style suit the people? That's the point. It seemed to have suited the people. Yes. And that also is important. There shouldn't be a mismatch between the style you adopt and whether it suits the people you are targeting. Maybe it wouldn't have suited his there's a cross-cultural issue which also comes into the case, no? He had foreign properties. He would have had local people. And this benevolent, paternalistic kind of thing may not have gone so well, but the case doesn't talk too much about it, except that one foreigner, that general manager, who objected.
Yes.
And then he laid down the law. He said, I am Supreme Court. Okay, any other points to be asked from group 1? All right, thank you. I want to ask the class a general question. If I were to ask you, what were the core values of Rai Bahadur Mohan Singh Oberoi, which is reflected from this case? Core values. What would you answer me?
Professionalism.
We'll note it down. Core values. One, professionalism. When you say professionalism, what do you mean by that?
It includes things like attention to detail, perfection, and taking interest in the job and doing it.
Even restructuring his orientation because he realized it can't be only run by his relatives. Also, the very fact that his son had to go through the mill like any other employee, that was his professional approach. He also had to carry the trays, and do like any other trainee would have to do. Okay? What else? Honesty, someone said. What reflects his honesty from the case?
As I said, repaying the bank loans.
He was quite paranoid about repaying, okay, so that there is no default on his loans. Even from New York, he sent a telex to his finance chief, not to forget the payment.
So he believed that don't ask was too lowly and no ambition too high.
Huh.
So
Humility. What else? Humility also comes. His old servant said he never thought he was ever a millionaire. Remember that? He was so rich, he had become so famous, but he retained that humility.
Diligence and perseverance.
Hard work, fantastic hard work. This is one common thing between him and Talwar, is it not? Hard work. So one thing seems to be very, very clear, that leadership, one common thing undisputed is ability, desire and motivation for consistent hard work. You never retire, years and years and years, they'll keep on doing hard work. Discipline. This is self-discipline, self-management, right?
Ability to learn.
Ability to learn. Even at 75, he never stopped learning, he never tuned off. So he's a learning person. Yes? Yeah, but let's not go away from this. We are talking of values. What are values? Someone give me the definition. Values. Strong beliefs and convictions. So he had a strong belief in honesty, strong belief in professionalism, right? Even not defaulting on a loan is also a hallmark of professionalism, right? That when a payment is scheduled, you must pay it as per that. Hard work, was that a core belief? Right. Learning person, does it come under a core belief or it's come under ability? Ability. His attitude was of learning. Conviction and belief, what else? Open to ideas. Okay. Any other core beliefs, values? Huh? Patience.
So he said that even if you don't like what the other person is saying, what the worker is proposing, you just go back to him after 24 hours so that they get the feeling that you have thought about it. That shows how the word patience comes in the future when he was not getting the funds.
And his construction was lying in a mid.
Abandoned, eyesore,
ISO.
next to the golf course.
Still he carried on and with his conviction towards building a grand hotel and arranging the funds for that for 2 or 3 years.
And they are
waiting for 6.
determination.
Determination, patience, perseverance. Right?
So
Good.
He was accommodating rather than confrontationist.
That's right. He believed that solutions lie not in confrontation but accommodation and collaboration. That also is something which is a core belief. All right.
Caring for people.
He was caring. Compassionate. Compassion. Isn't it? Although wherever he had a chance, he was a shrewd businessman. He could combine that with what was good for the business also. But that didn't take away from his basic compassion. Right. Now we'll go to group 2. Come, group 2. Who will lead the charge? Group 2 is here. Group 2 is here. Your group 3, yes. Group 2 is there. Your group 2 is there. You've got question 3, your group 2. Yes. You are looking puzzled. So this is question 3. What did you prepare?
No, sir, no. What we are saying is, since we are going question by question.
No, we are doing random. So second question we are going to discuss is entrepreneurship and innovativeness. Okay? Come. Third question, sorry. What were his vision and values? All right. Values we have discussed a bit. And how would this be passed on? That is, after he is no more, how is it going to be perpetuated in the organization? Right. Start. Come here. Switch is on, don't touch it. Put it close to you so that it can be recorded.
Well, for speaking about the vision and the values which went with it, well, regarding the vision, there's not much said about it. But what we feel, his vision was to create a best-in-class hotel chain. And best-in-class meant not only in India but around the world. And he developed his vision throughout his career, right from the start when he started with his first hotel, when he was a clerk, trying to get what are the things which really drive a hotel, what drives the hospitality industry, researching what is our best practices around the world to every detail, and then going out and incorporating it in his vision, the grand vision of a big chain of hotels in India. What are the values which drove him and which helped him attain his vision? Well, we just discussed some of them now. Just reiterating some of them and what we feel are the core ones. Just professionalism, which he maintained throughout his life and which he tried to incorporate in everyone who joined his organization. His professionalism also stemmed from his discipline in everything he took up and the perfection. And because of discipline and perfection, he was able to incorporate hard work into what he did. And we feel because of his hard work and his professionalism, he was also able to instill and set an example in the organization, which could be followed by anyone throughout, right from the clerical person, right from the bellboy to a manager. The other core aspect of his core value, which is the main thing which helped him achieve his vision, is his humility and his ability to build relationships depending on his humility. There are many instances in his case when he had problems of getting funding for his hotel, where he was able to get around the situations only because of the relationships that he could bond. And what was the relation based on? He was not a wealthy man at that time, but he was known for being a humble person, and he was known to be a very straightforward person. Humility can also be understood by the fact that he was waiting, he slept all night on a carpet so that he could meet the minister and put his case forward, so that the hotel in Delhi would not be destroyed. Going out from the vision and values, the other thing was how he built an institution. And in fact, he has been involved in every stage, right? He built from scratch, and then the later half of it was kind of passing over the reins to other people. Well, the real core value or core thing which helped him build an institution was his people-oriented nature. And his people-oriented nature, again, I repeat, was not only building up managers, it was also choosing the right people for serving the customers. He took interest in the kind of jobs and the kind of attitude of the bellboy, of the person at the bar. It is an example to that nature. And on the managers, he also set up a school to train people and imbibe these qualities in them. And his professionalism played a big role in this, as the Dean just mentioned. He even put his family members that he got into this business through this curriculum, through this nature of learning what is professionalism in this industry. And other thing which really helped him keep together this grand vision, and in fact keep together this whole institution, was his conflict resolution. He believed to take all conflicts by their horns. He would not avoid conflicts. In fact, it's mentioned that he would like to get into conflicts, but resolve it with his charm and with his humility. In fact, the fact that he kept his doors open to anyone coming in, even the person right at the bottom part of the hierarchy, means he wanted people to come to him with issues, because he knew he had the confidence that he could resolve them. And these two, people orientation and conflict resolution, actually helped him motivate the people. And this is the main crux of building an institution. Getting people into professional mode and also motivating them to keep up the professional mode even when he's not involved. After it became a big chain, his level of involvement to large extent decreased. But because he had instilled the professionalism throughout his institution and motivated them to work towards it, he was able to keep the vision together. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go away.
Thank you.
All right. Questions? Any questions?
This question talks about how we build up the organization so that we can carry on this institution in place. How we build the institution building so that this culture keeps on going. What was this factor which it takes in the future to make this thing?
Yeah.
So as I said, factors are firstly giving detail to everyone so that he knows what are the things which are involved in the institution in every role in this. He tried to keep it open so that he could even give his learning from all around the world to people right at the lower level. He had an institution, he had a place where budding managers could learn the art of serving and then also he had this same professional learning was extended to everyone, right to his kith and kin, so that it was professionalism coming in, not just his charm, it was working. People, after he left or after he started going out, the people up there were people, right, professional people who were trained in this industry and who understood what has to be done, what has to be done for keeping up a world-class hotel chain alive.
I think the question is unaddressed. His specific question which Vikas is asking is how did he set up, let us say, systems which would perpetuate the culture. He is zeroing in on the word culture. So what is culture?
So he mentioned he had institutions in place like the management, the hotel management institute, which sort of was the training ground for budding managers.
Service culture.
Service culture was instilled there.
By building a school, in fact. Anything else?
So the other thing is open door policy, where people will come and address him with any issue. So he's actually given a culture, an open culture of working.
How do you build cultures?
And
how would you go about building a culture?
So major thing is setting an example.
Walking your talk,
Yeah.
that becomes culture. Setting example.
Actually the main thing is...
What about
we have the values
communication?
for
Does communication have a role to play in culture?
this.
I think we covered this also, no? What about folklore? You know, this thing which has been mentioned about him going to the minister, driving all the way up, there was no accommodation, raining. He was still a big man in those days.
So in every organization, there are certain stories, certain
Stories,
folklore,
myths.
certain jargon which is germane to that organization. I mean, those things perpetuate the culture.
Anything else? Culture. How do you perpetuate a culture? You have a hall culture? Huh? Not yet. Is two. How would you make a hall culture and perpetuate it? RK Hall has a hall culture. Patel Hall has a culture. Nehru Hall, they have some different cultures. There is a IIT culture. Culture is made on what? Common shared values. Is it not? Common shared values. Once we have common values which we all share, that is the beginnings of a culture. So what are these kind of values? These are the values. Were they shared values or his own values?
I think it was his own values which he shared with others through the way he dealt with people.
Yeah, I think the platform he used was through his benevolence, like a patriarch. And he brought in that culture that you must give, give for the employees, look after the welfare of the employees. I think he tried to do it by example. A welfare-oriented culture so far as employees are concerned. Made some policies which help that. Don't sack people. Don't allow people to go to the Gulf. But there you see, what I like about him, he always could find a business angle to it, because as he explained it, if you allow one man to go, keep him, don't allow, because he'll go, he'll come back. And he'll see how much money he earned there, what are the opportunities, and other people will leave from the hotel. So he said, nip it in the bud. Maybe you give him some increment, promote him, but keep him. Don't let him go to the Gulf. So that business also, he could manage to bring a business angle to his benevolence. Okay? Right. Thank you very much. All right. Last group. Last group will talk about entrepreneurship and innovativeness, right?
I'm here representing the third group. We'll be answering the second question. Entrepreneurship and innovativeness. In what way was he different from other hoteliers? He had an eye for detail. He was process oriented. I'll give examples from the case. This person went to the US, visited the best of hotels, studied the process in great detail, explained it, documented it, came back and trained his people. He also tried to transfer the best practices throughout the organization by doing so. He was people oriented. People oriented, there are many instances in the case. He established trust within the organization. On a lighter vein, he even wrote to Madhok and he said, I have bought another property for you for your organization. When Madhok was in Singapore. He established trust by telling the employees that he will never be sacking anyone. He always tried to use, many times he used a very accommodative mean. He used accommodative means to solve problems. Then he was different in the sense that at that time he thought of globalization. He went outside and bought properties. That is another thing which is unique. Then at that time there was no formal education, it seems, in India for developing talent in the hotel business. He established the Oberoi Institute of Hotel Management. Then he imposed a set of standards for himself. That is, he tried to, as it has come out so many times in the discussion till here, that he walked the talk. He handled the environment, the business environment, quite well, it seems, because he went and met Balasaheb Thackeray to solve a union problem. He went up to a minister when his property was about to be confiscated, attached. And he also tried to build a good culture inside his organization by establishing a lot of trust. He imposed discipline in his own life, and he took decisions. He tried to solve problems one after the other, rather than trying to solve many problems at one time. In fact, he said, if you create a haystack, it will be difficult to search a needle. He had a good memory, and in this way he was slightly different from the other hoteliers of his time. That is why his entrepreneurship was different from the others.
Okay, good. Now some questions. I'll start out by asking you one question. Normally, we associate an entrepreneur as someone who has a risk-taking ability, right? Don't we?
Yes.
Unlike persons who would rather go and take a job with a multinational. You say entrepreneur has risk-taking ability. So can you bring out from the case his risk-taking ability?
In the first case,
Come.
this story of Oberoi is a story of going from rags to riches. He was a clerk earning rupees 50 a month, and he went on to create an empire earning millions. So how does he do that? Means what is the ability he had which makes him manage this big organization? The first ability which we see is that the risk-taking ability. He didn't have much money with him to handle this business. So he went on to arrange funds to fulfill his vision. He used all his property and money for the business, which a normal person would not generally go on to. So this shows that a person who has an entrepreneurship ability should first have the risk-taking ability, and he can apply his personal possessions and his personal time so that, and maybe he may be harming the family relationship because of the time he has to give to the business. So these are all the risks which he was taking, and the innovativeness which is reflected in the case is that in India there were not many good hotels existing. So he went on to various places and learned the system and structure, and he wrote it down and then implemented it in his own hotel. To every detail, he made up the system so that everybody will follow those activities. So this streamlining the system and writing it and following it was the innovativeness he pursued. Another area in which his innovativeness shows is the arranging the funds for the hotel. When he was in short of fund and his construction was lying in the middle of the road, then he went on to develop, he went on to search for the areas from which he can find out the funds. And this was, he went to arrange for the PL 480 funds from the American program. So, since it was not available and funds were not easy to come by in India, this large fund, so this was another opportunity he makes use of. This is the another innovativeness example which is shown in the case.
Any other questions? Good. All right. Thank you. Keep this here. I have another question. What else makes up an entrepreneur? Vinod Gupta, Rai Bahadur, Mohan Singh Oberoi, huh?
So the most important aspect of an entrepreneur is the ability to dream big.
Dream big. Did he have it? He did have it.
He did have it.
Who are the other examples you can say? Who dared to dream big? Dhirubhai Ambani, another example. Petrol station attendant at Aden. You know that, no? But he had fantastic dream. He had a dream, apart from building a hotel chain, best in class in the world, was also Dhirubhai's dream, but in petrochemicals, textile. Now, Rai Bahadur ji, he wanted to be the Dale Carnegie of India. So that was also a vision, What is Dale Carnegie famous for apart from making his multi-millions? The art of winning friends and influencing people. So, Rai Bahadur ji was a great believer in that also. Huh? What are the other hallmarks of an entrepreneur?
So, ability to find an opportunity.
To identify an opportunity.
In India,
And what else?
And exploit it to your advantage.
Exploit. What that requires what? It requires perseverance. Even in the case of failures, in the face of failures, advance, impossible conditions, you have to persevere. He ran out of money to make his flagship hotel, the Oberoi International, and it stood there an eyesore next to the golf course till the Delhi authorities got fed up. They were going to bulldoze it. But still he could find some innovative way through his perseverance to come out of it. Did he have emotional intelligence? We started this class by talking of emotional intelligence. What does it manifest itself? Let's see. Combination of skills and capabilities. Let's see. Rai Bahadur ji, self-awareness, manifested by what? Self-confidence. Did he have it? Case brings it out. Realistic assessment. He could assess a business proposition. Self-deprecating sense of humor we don't know from the case. But maybe he had when he told that chap that you are the sessions judge or sessions court. I thought there's a bit of humor in that. He is giving it in a palatable, humorous way. That there's the High Court, which is my son, and I am the Supreme Court. Self-management, manifested by integrity. He had integrity, I think it brought out in the case. Trustworthiness, would you trust Mohan Singh Oberoi with your money? I think the shareholders trusted him. He could bring out that feeling of trust. Comfort with ambiguity and openness to change. Wasn't he open to change? He didn't ask Bicky that in my days I didn't require this 20 million rupees, of computer. He was open to change. He was willing to learn. He had that. What about comfort with ambiguity?
Where he had opened doors so that people would come with problems to him.
Right.
He'd like to solve those problems.
Yeah. It gave him an ego boost also. You know why? He wanted to be the Dale Carnegie of India. He wanted to influence people, make friends, build networks. But what about ambiguity to openness? Comfort with ambiguity?
So the fact that initially when the portal was delayed for 6 years,
right,
he was not very sure whether the portal will come up or not. But still, he did whatever he could do to get the portal up or running. So he was not bogged down by the fact that he didn't know what's going to happen to it.
Okay. Empathy, manifested by expertise in building and retaining talent. He certainly built talent, isn't it? Including, he started a core program of a hotel, the first in India. Like, the Kellogg's have started a hotel in America. So, Oberoi Hotel is now quite famous in this part of the world, South Asia and Southeast Asia. Lot of foreign students come. And with his employees, building, retaining talent. He certainly had a policy to retain talent. Didn't want people to go away. He did it by a multiplicity of ways. Benevolence, that Swiss hotel, when it was sold, that property, gave it to his managers. But on conditions. He was a businessman through and through. And right at the end of the case, it says also that you may give, but you are not in a charity, You have to strike hard bargains. So he said every increment you get, 50% you give back as part of repayment. But he also it was a beautiful, innovative way, which I see. He said you paid back first 50% down and payment period to suit you. The loan servicing capability, he was very benign. Some people can pay, let's say he has a wife earning also, can pay back in 5 years. Others can't. Say, all right, 20 years, pay it in 20 years. If you pay in 20 years, what is the implicit understanding? At least you retain the talent for 20 years. Because unless you have chosen a wrong man, because in this culture of honesty, truth, integrity, it's reasonable to expect his senior employees and his managerial cadre, they imbibe the same value. So they wouldn't go away without repaying the loan. Okay? And ability to see how others are feeling? I think it brings out enough in the case to say that he had all these skills, social skills manifested by ability to lead change effort. In ample measure, lead change efforts. Expertise in building and leading teams and the ability to handle the emotions of others. Are there any examples in the case to illustrate these?
So one of the case of the manager of Bombay Hotel, the Bombay,
yes,
where he feels sorry for going against him. That was quite a case where the person felt that he might be fired, but in fact kind of brought him back and made him feel motivated to work more.
So his ability, his persuasiveness came into picture when he tackled that issue in Bombay by persuading Bal Thackeray. So there he was.
That was a fantastic job he did.
Very
very clever.
as well as achieved
He
this
says, I have
purpose.
come all the way to Maharashtra to benefit your people because Bala Sahib is for the
Being
people,
on the
no? The Marathi people, Marathi Maras. So, and now you want to drive me away with this behavior. So he was very good at it. Even this case, of the general manager who said that you shouldn't directly approach the employees. Was he angry or was he hurt? I think he was more hurt, isn't it? Because it was a kind of, I think, message which came to him that although I founded this, etc., when I professionalize, there are other rules of professional conduct which I have to play by. So it was a self-realization for him. That's the way I interpreted it. Okay? So, does this inspire you to become an entrepreneur? That's the point. We have attended this class. We have a charter in Vinod Gupta School of Management, all right? This school has been endowed by a great entrepreneur. Sometimes we say familiarity breeds contempt, but remember, Vinod Gupta is a great entrepreneur and he did it in an alien country. Okay? So, if by this case, even we have planted a little seed, of entrepreneurship in even one or two of you, I think the time has been well spent. Thank you very much.